time we've talked about the prizing, Katie. It's time to jump into the gameplay and remind everybody at home to make money today. You either need to win a map or get inside the top 5 at the end of the day. Let's jump into it and see what Huskerrs team does this time.
Just so we like get loaded.
Huskerrs team, maybe that's just the mental reset you need, right? But in the top 5, if reported scores stay constant, and again, we report them, we update that leaderboard as quickly as the teams report their scores. Team Joewo still not in a bad spot. They are sitting in 5th place despite the prior map 6 Goj, which was a disaster for them. They were eliminated really early. They didn't get any multiplier at all. So still an option for them to have a very strong finish, because as we know, it's the top 5 teams overall that get a payout. It's of course that $750 per map win, and of course on top of that, the Monster Energy $1,000 MVP, which we will be deciding later on. But let's take a look. Team Swagg in 4th place, just breaching the 100-point mark. And well, I think if I've learned anything, Doge, transitioning to a team that's consistently in chaos might not be indicative of how well they're doing overall, because it always looked like they were in the blender, and well, they're in 4th, so what do I even know?
Well, here's the thing. In Resurgence tournaments like this, you want to be in the blender. You always want to be fighting. You want to be dying, because that means you're in fights. Like, you can't sit back on your laurels and hope teams come to you. Whenever we tune into a team like this, Team Swagg, Team Sage, they're constantly in fights. Of course, you want to be winning a lot of those fights, but if you lose a life here or there, that's not the end of the world. Like, you are okay losing few lives, so that's the point of the Resurgence. So play hyper aggressive in the beginning when you have the timer. When the timer goes away and you can't come back, that's when you can slow things down and hope you did enough in the early game that you can win the tournament or win the map or get enough points to keep you in the running.
Take a moment to see the early game strategies out of Knight's team. So we take a look at Lulu, the namesake of the tournament, putting it all together, making it happen, and competing with broken AC in a 90-degree room, doing it all. Doing a great job of it. Thank you again to Lulu for putting this throwdown presented by Monster Energy on. There's one of those helis. Nope, don't want to get in it, though. Got banned after the second map. Unrational and Adrian, lower parts of the map, trying to capitalize on those shots. Nice connection onto the first snipe. Not enough for a down, but we'll be able to relay the information to the rest of her team.
Yeah, it's kind of this is kind of that same anchor position that Joewo was in, right? Which is be able to get information for your team. You can hear the call-outs coming from Lulu to her squad, while also hopefully picking up a few picks from distance. Be able to connect several times, but again, when you're using a sniper like this, it's no signal 50. It takes a while to reload the next bullet, and she's almost able to close it out. There it is. Nice knock from distance. Huge pickup for the squad. I think the kill went to one of her teammates just because of the amount of damage that they were able to do, but even still, she set that kill up. And this is exactly what you want to do if you're an anchor for your team. They can push aggressively. They can take fights. You stay alive and hopefully get some help from distance.
We'll swing over, see what's going on with Ken's. They've been in the mix of it. Haven't found a ton of success just yet, but doesn't mean they can't grab it here in the last 2 maps. That drill charge got to be a little careful, and that is none other than Cap on Team Knight, who takes down Ken's. It does not matter if we're not on their POV, Goj. It's going to be Team Knight everywhere all at once.
Yeah, this is a story as old as time, it feels like. Resurgence tournaments, Knight is nearly on top every single time. I remember Rebirth. I remember all of these. Fortune's Keep, even. Knight was there, and oftentimes Knight was playing with Z-Smith. So a duo that has been around the block from the Resurgence side of things, picking up capture, a huge value add, seemingly paying off. We'll see if they can close this tourney out. Swagg's got something to say about it, though. Biffle's been going big in Resurgence tournaments the last several weeks here, especially on Vondel, but right now having to back up Swagg, who's playing the aggressor, loses his life. It's going to be a tough fight to win.
Tough fight to win, and well, Iceman Isaac, a few tough fights for them throughout this tournament, seeing limited success so far, but does have a bounty on to destroy, and that would be a great team to take down.
Wow,
Skullface does fall, but that Sage, although, well, the trade might be there, does have the self-revive if he can get it off behind this car. Sage, always a great player to take out of the mix, even if temporarily, but Adrian not giving him the chance, was just a sliver of a second away from getting up. As we swing over to Aydan's team now, Shifty in a bit of trouble. Let's see if they can stabilize.
Resources king. Ammo box is an easy way to keep up resources. Here's the fight from a different angle. Adrian was able to grab one a second ago. But it's Shifty and Aydan pushing the fight from another angle. There goes one. That's Chrissy. So this is 3-4 teams in this area all fighting each other. Big question is who comes out on top. These are all inside of zone too, so we were talking about edge hunting, but this time around 3-4 teams, same spot on stadium, all fighting each other. This is chaos, and you've got resurgence active, so they're going to be flying back in even if you only pick up 1 or 2. So you would love to find a team wipe here if you can, or if they're dumb enough to keep pushing you, maybe just keep farming them.
I'm sure they're happy to do that. We're in a power position. If you want to continue flying at us, we are happy to continue cutting you down. But a mortar strike, now something you're going to have to contend with. Not only do you have to deal with that streak, one of your teammates is down. You know someone's just over the corner. There will be Aydan coming out on top. That is a tract looking for more Shifty there alongside him as their teammate will come back in just 4 seconds. It was that mortar strike.
Good.
But they should be able to recover, and we talked about farm and kills, at least able to find a decent amount so far.
I gotta say, Aydan made that kill look easy. Attract is not an easy kill, but the way he played around that tiny piece of cover, this lip of cover where these solar panels are, to dive around the corner and take Attract unaware, and that kind of 0.5 seconds decision-making time, that's what separates a good player from a great player in those moments. Aydan has done it 1,000 times and will continue to do it. He's got 5 kills currently, and we're going to swing over to one of the teams at the top. Sage, Adapt, Soka playing fantastic today, and Soka's on 4 already. Every time we tune into the teams at the top of the leaderboard, Katie, they have early game kills. It's key to your success. It's also key to your success to hear the footsteps coming up behind you. Believe able to take down Soka. Believe squad 1 we didn't see last map, but we've been seeing him top of the leaderboard. Believe yet again shows his nasty face on main broadcast for just a second, and it's taking down one of the top teams.
And well, speaking of Adapt's team, they are in 2nd place. And Gojo, I was taking a look, it's about a 14.2 point gap between 2nd place and 1st place, which is Team Knight. And now Joewo, after very early success in the beginning of this tournament, taking 1st place, they are now in 5th. They had a tough go of it in the prior map going out early, so this is where you want to hit a strong regain, the likes of what we saw from Destroy's team when they faced a similar situation early on. But as eBait's not happy with that death, will not be able to be saved, but 28 seconds, the resurgence will go off if they can survive for that long, although it doesn't look like they are necessarily in the safest place to be doing so. But with 1 minute left on Circle 2, still plenty of time for them to be relying on that resurgence.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, too, they were fighting Knight's team, so it's a team they really want to win against, but they also know they're extremely talented, so you can't push that fight 2v3 or even 2v2, because you don't want to risk your full team getting wiped here and your chances of being the money completely down the toilet. So they're going to stay up here, let eBait survive, figure out what their next plan is, and again, they do need a sizable amount of kills. They're right on the bubble of making some cash today. Of course, they did win the very first map, so they're going to have some cash in their pockets, $750, but they would like a sizable portion more. Even 5th place is another 1,000, but Aydan in trouble, and I don't think that's a full team wipe. That is Biffle grabbing that kill, though, so a huge win from Biffle.
Sort of funny there. Aydan goes for it, spins around, tries to re-challenge the door, doesn't find anyone with the pre-fire, and then goes to wrap around through the next door, and there's Biffle right in his face saying, I read you a little better than you read me. Let's take a look at a team that has been dominating in the background. Team Queen Eliminator. Doing a great job, Believe, on your screen, and they are in 3rd place at 110 points, a 10-point lead over Team Swagg in 2nd. Top 3, that's going to be a nice payout, but of course they are looking to take over 2nd place, although at this point with 2 maps left, I don't know if they're going to be able to overtake Team Knight unless they have 2 dud maps in a row.
Great win from Believe. Unreal. Turns on Breadman, grabs another kill. Believe is on 7. Sure, in trouble, but setting up his team for success. Top 15 means we're into the first multiplier, albeit, or right around the corner for the first multiplier, albeit it's not a very massive one. You're really looking for top 5 here, Katie, and I'll be curious to see what happens for this team. I mean, they are inside of zone, so they should be okay. A couple more UAVs to boot, and they should be able to play this right, but they need to get to high ground. They need to high ground now, especially as they lose one. That's Scum and falling. This is a little bit precarious spot to be in. Not my favorite position, but not the worst. This is the spot I want to be in if I'm on the map. Inside a zone, on high ground, with some kills. Soka yet again leading the charge here, keeping his team alive.
Will swing back down to get the loot available to him. Of course, any movement there, as you can see, will be the -2, -3.
There's guns in the elevator if you need it.
Allow Stage to get back even faster. Call out as well. Hey, head to the elevator. We know where all of the utility is for you to get set up. You said it right, Coach? Position like this, exactly where you want a massive amount of high ground. You have aerial views all around you. Yes, that fog is going to limit that somewhat, but certainly a good position to be in. And actually, Joewo's team is who they were fighting against previously. And now, Joewo, you got to try and get into the staircase, avoid that Sentex, and just a sliver, not able to get away before Lightfire. You get the revive, and now everything is falling apart. Believe trying to get those tags in, jumps into the water. You got to try and survive those respawns. But as we know, with 7 seconds left on the resurgence timer, this is where things start to get very messy very quickly.
Yikes, Scumman's just got to keep swimming and keep swimming and keep swimming. Stay alive. Both teammates down, Believe just now flying back in, so a tiny moment of reprieve. But this is the last respawn's going to come through. Queen Eliminator died right before the timer was closed and resurgence was stopped. So has a moment to get back for free because of the movement and the looting of Scumman here. 4 seconds remaining. Big question is, where do you go from here? What weapons do you get? If you got enough cash, sure, buy a loadout, buy whatever you need. But at this point, every person for themselves. PA in pocket. Scumman again needs another massive map. They've been hyper consistent, likely on the back of Scumman's kills and Believes, because it's 16 kills between them both. But Queen Eliminator is an incredible player, sure. Didn't play in World Series of Warzone. Scumman, though, in trouble. Catches one completely unaware. Lookout was definitely fighting somebody else, but that's a team wipe. That was team 15. Now we're down to final 12 teams already. Quickly, teams beginning to fall. Scumman somehow gets out of that free and clear. I have no idea how that's possible.
Scumman swirling away despite all odds and getting away with his life and elimination is the most on-brand gameplay I've ever seen. Scumman has this, I don't know if he has 9 lives like a cat or what it is, Coach, but I have casted him for years and he is so good at somehow surviving in situations that seem impossible. Not only is he able to get the team back, he gets the elimination and he gets a lot of utility, plates, and a streak on top of it to work with as we get into this endgame. But let's take a look at our tournament leaders. Knight on your screen, only 4 eliminations, but at this point, you could really play a decent amount of eliminations and that second blessed multiplier, considering you've got, what, a 14, 15-point lead over second place to keep that cushion. You don't have to go as hard as you did through the rest of the tournament, but hey, a first, and a second. You want to get back on top. Of course, they want a first place here.
Yeah, they would love another win because it's, well, it's another $750 in their pocket, too. They've already netted $22.50 just from winning games, let alone going to be in the money at the top of the leaderboard. Potential massive payout for the boys here. Got to go through some sizable teams, though. 12 total teams still alive, and this zone is fairly forgiving. There's a lot of cover to be played around, but that also means you can get shot from a lot of different angles, and checks over top, and guess who's there? Someone on the other side. Couldn't quite figure out who, not able to knock.
We need to find a way to get down.
I thought you were about to say Hisoka was across the way, and that would have
quite
been
possible.
Poetic, those two teams battling back and forth. But here's Swagg, spectating Biffle, who has 6 eliminations, and this is where things get really rough. You're all on your own. You don't have a lot of plates in the background, only 1 to work with, able to get 1 more, but you don't have the cash. This is going to look really rough. At this point, you got to try and play for that placement. Swagg's team currently in 4th. And, well, look at that, though. I think a decent amount of kills out of them. What, 17 or so for Swagg's team? Is not bad at all.
Yeah, I think it was 15, but it's still a pretty big game. They'd like to make top 5. Let's get a couple more kills, though, if you're them, to just solidify yourself in the top 3 and win a sizable cash here. Again, 1 more map to be played after this, so not all hope is lost. But yet again, we find ourselves with the team at the top of the leaderboard still alive in the final 10 teams here in the 5th circle and closing. Consistency is now an understatement for what this team's been able to execute throughout this tournament series. We'll see what they're able to do this time around. Top 5 is the goal. Anything extra is bonus. 9th place for Swagg means, well, not as good as they wanted, but might be enough to keep them in the money. Here goes Knight, pushing aggressively into the next zone, looking for a couple kills. There's one up above. He didn't see him. Got ripped apart and low on plates and gets wiped. Little to no advantageous route. Don't make it to top 5. Still a decent map going for him. 8th place is achieved. Guess what happens, though, Katie? That means the window of opportunity is re-cracked back open and thrown open by the team on your screen. Sage, Soka, FaZe Adapt going buck wild yet again on the map. About to be top 5. If they can get into the water and hide out in the zone. Durable gas mask is going to be hyper influential for their success. Yet they lose Sage in the process to Shifty nonetheless. But hey, you got a flare? Perfect. Right back into it. Sage can also float in live ping.
You said it right. 8th place means that Knight's team will get the 3rd best multiplier at 1.2, and they do have a 14-point cushion over Hisoka's team. But look at how many kills Hisoka individually has, the flare to get Sage back into things.
He broke glass on my left.
If they can get a 1st place here and keep racking up those eliminations, granted not many people left, closes that gap significantly as Joewo goes down. He was Shifty on the other end.
Okay.
And teammates Hisoka, so many tournaments played alongside Shifty, but now he's on the other end of things.
Wow.
You gotta take him out that stage, down, able to get
under
one.
us. I'm nading you, Sage, trying to nade you.
There's only so many players left. 3 other
They're
players.
right over there. And what's in the water?
There's only 3 other teams, and well, they are in the best possible position.
What's in the water?
And 50 is team wiped. Now it is a 3v1v1. This certainly looks like it's going to be a Hisoka's team win.
Yeah, they're in the water. They're trying to get these 2 kills.
Real. The big question is, who else is alive? Fantastic plays. Fantastic spot in the water. Mayapo goes down. That's Huskerrs' team. Again, another dominating performance for Huskerrs' team. Not a win, but still a great one. Top 3. However, the team in 2nd place on the leaderboard nets a 16-kill victory. Katie, that's a 24-point win. Nothing nuts, but certainly a great tally to their leaderboard. Certainly will close the gap to Team Knight. Won't entirely close it, likely still in 2nd place, but solidifying their 2nd place over a team like Team Swagg that was hot on their heels.
And you can hear those comms, how happy they are with that win. They did a great job, especially to be able to go into that end game where it was essentially at that point, I think upwards of 3 or 4 solo players. And at that point, with a full stack of 3, you're picking them apart one by one by one. So yeah, I do believe that they will still be in 2nd place, but that 14-point gap should be minimized, potentially substantially, which means Team Knight going into this, we're feeling